Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. Today, we'll take a deep dive and look at every martial arts movie made by the legendary Shaw Brothers Studios based out of Hong Kong. The studio started producing movies in the late 1950s, and initially their genre was mainly drama and romance-based films. However, late into the 60s, they started making more and more martial arts movies and stuck to the genre over the next 2 decades, producing some of the most memorable martial arts movies and becoming the pioneer of the kung fu action movies that we all love to watch. So, let's strap in for this ride as we review 110 of the greatest martial arts movies released by the Shaw Brothers Studios. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The 8-diagram pole fighter. 1984. The first on our list is the 8-diagram pole fighter, a Lau Kar-leung directed movie based on Cantonese local legends of the generals of the Yang family. The story takes place during the rule of the Song dynasty in China, and the plot's premise is the rivalry between the loyal and traitorous generals of the Song dynasty. The loyal general Young Yip and his 7 sons are captured by the rival Liao dynasty and killed, leaving only 2 of the sons to survive. The protagonist of the movie, the 5th son, takes refuge in a Buddhist temple and becomes a monk, where he learns his martial art techniques using a pole as a weapon. All the training eventually leads him to perfect his 8-diagram pole fighter technique, based on which the movie is named. Finally, the story involves how he manages to rescue his sister, who was kidnapped by the same rival dynasty that was responsible for the death of his father and brothers. The 8-diagram pole fighter is one of the most revered kung fu films of its time. Alexander Fu Sheng, the 6th brother, an international kung fu star, was initially cast as the movie's lead. His untimely death in a car accident during filming forced the director to rewrite parts of the story, and Gordon Liu, the 5th brother, became the main protagonist. Kar-leung, the director, himself an action choreographer, made sure to give a fitting memorial to Alexander Liu Sheng in the masterful action movie, which showcases the brilliance of martial arts films in all their glory. A must-watch for any martial arts movie fan. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, 1978. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin is regarded as one of the best martial art action movies ever. This movie too is directed by Lau Kar-leung and stars Gordon Liu as the protagonist. The story is about Liu Yud, a student who forays into political activism and witnesses the brutal suppression of it, seeing his close friends and family killed. Vowing revenge, Yud undergoes martial arts training at the Shaolin Temple and eventually returns to take revenge on the man who killed his friends and family. The 36th Chamber of Shaolin is known for its exceptional portrayal of Shaolin training, kung fu action, and an impressive lead performance by Gordon Liu. Once again, Lau Kar-leung proves why he's revered as one of the best directors of martial arts movies, as his action sequences will leave you breathless. The film delights its audience as they feel the determination of Liu Yud, who faces challenge after challenge during his training and manages to overcome them with his mental strength and perseverance. In the end, a satisfying action-packed climax truly rounds out one of the greatest martial arts classics ever. Five-Element Ninjas, 1982. The next movie's plot deals with ninjas, martial artists, samurai, and the 5-element ninjas: gold, wood, water, fire, and earth. You're right if you think that sounds like an exciting premise for a kung fu movie. Chang Cheh's 1982 movie, The 5-Element Ninjas, is a story of revenge and some more revenge. When 2 competing martial arts masters fight, the loser tries to hire a samurai from Japan. When defeated, the samurai vows revenge, and the 5-element ninjas from Japan come into the story and start killing off all the students. The only survivor is left to take revenge against the Japanese ninjas by undergoing some Chinese ninja training himself. Add in a female ninja spy, who initially betrays and then falls in love with our hero, and you have a good story with several great action-packed sequences on your hands. 5-Element Ninjas is part of the Venom Mob movies produced by the Shaw Brothers Studios. The Venom Mob are a list of actors who, after finding fame in an earlier film, which we'll talk about soon in this video, were cast in similar roles due to their fantastic synergy and fame while being in a movie together. The 5-Element Ninja is best remembered for its blood and gore, fighters dismembered left and right, and Shaw Brothers-style martial arts action, with a healthy dose of ninjutsu. A gripping watch for fans of the genre. Dirty Ho, 1979. Dirty Ho is a 1979 martial arts classic directed by the legendary Lau Kar-leung and starring Gordon Liu and Wong Yu. Dirty Ho is a comedy movie in principle, as the plot revolves around the journey of a prince, portrayed by Gordon Liu, who is in disguise as he travels and meets Dirty Ho, portrayed by Wong Yu, who is a thief but can't exactly be called the smartest of thieves. The prince seeks the help of Dirty Ho while keeping his identity and skills as a master martial artist a secret to uncover a plot to kill him. This film is unique in that the flavour differs from the other Shaw Brothers movies of the 70s, and Lau Kar-leung captures the blend of comedy and action masterfully. Humour is central to the film, as the shots where we see Gordon Liu's prince subtly showcasing his martial arts skills while portraying himself as the clumsy fool, and Dirty Ho being none the wiser as to how things around him are unfolding, and just concluding most of it are due to his bad luck, is hilarious. However, the film also unravels the plot masterfully, as Dirty Ho eventually learns and trains under his skilled master, the prince. The action sequences later pick up for a satisfying finale, a timeless Shaw Brother classic. 5 Deadly Venoms, 1978. The next movie on our list is the one that spawned the famous Venom mob, a group of actors who were frequently cast together in Shaw Brothers films due to the popularity they gained during this movie. The plot of the movie is like a classic whodunit mystery, where the main protagonist has to uncover the mysterious identity of 5 students of the Poison Clan, who each specializes in a kung fu style, namely the centipede, the snake, the scorpion, the lizard, and the toad. The twist is that they're not all known to each other, and the master who trained them also doesn't know their true identity as they wore masks. Thus, it's up to our hero to discover who among them are righteous and who are villainous. Our hero tries to stop a plot involving stealing the fortune of one of his master's colleagues. The film is notable for its action sequences and portrayal of various styles of kung fu, derived from the poisonous animals named above, forming the Poison Clan. The plot is suspenseful and beautifully brought together by director Chang Che, one of the most veteran Shaw Brothers Studios directors. The actors who make up the Venom mob are skilled martial artists and have known each other since childhood. All of them attended the same school in Taiwan, thereby treating the audience to great screen chemistry, which makes this movie a cult classic for fans of the genre, a must-watch. House of Traps, 1982. House of Traps, as the name suggests, is about a house of traps where a prince of China has hidden a precious stolen jade statue, which serves as the MacGuffin in this story. The emperor sends the heroes to retrieve that statue from the house where one can enter alive but can only leave supposedly dead because it's a house full of booby traps and other deadly stuff that will pose a significant challenge to our heroes. A list of the names of the revolutionaries plotting against the emperor is also hidden away in this trap-filled house. The stakes are never higher, as our heroes will have to keep pushing through despite the losses they face. House of Traps is the Venom mob's last outing together. It's a typical Shaw Brothers kung fu action flick directed by Chang Che. Expect a lot of blood, agility-based action sequences, lots of drama and intrigue, and plot twists as the Venom mob have one last hurrah together. A movie that ticks all the boxes when it comes to being a Shaw Brother production. Crippled Avengers, 1978. Another movie from one of the most veteran Shaw Brothers studio directors Chang Che and his Venom mob, Crippled Avengers, is a story of 4 disabled men who would become kung fu masters to exact revenge on the people who crippled them. The plot opens with Chu Twin, the movie's antagonist, finding his wife killed and son maimed. With the help of some iron prosthetics, he and his son manage to kill the people who killed his wife, but this vengeance doesn't satiate their hearts. Instead, they become oppressors in their village. Mild acts of annoyance from anyone would cause Chu and his son to cripple them, either by making them deaf, blinding them, cutting their legs off, or driving them nuts by causing head injuries. These 4 cripples then band together and decide to get some payback. This 100-minute-long flick will ensure you're glued to your seat the whole time. With a high-octane opening, beautifully choreographed high-intensity action scenes throughout the movie and some training sequences, this film has everything for the martial arts movie buffs. The disability and the director's unique way of weaving innovative action sequences using that plot device are a delight to watch. The vengeance feels justified, as you can't help but feel happy to see the crippled men empower themselves and take on the baddies, despite their disabilities. An absolute top-tier kung fu action movie that you must watch. Kid with the Golden Arm, 1979. Venom mob in the late 70s were all the rage, and Chang Che was the Shaw Brothers Studios' choice director to work with these young actors and produce what their audience liked the most, kung fu movies. Kid with the Golden Arm is another such film. Yan Hu Yun hired a bunch of mercenaries to protect a gold carriage he must escort for the government, but the infamous Chi Sha gang is aware of this and wants to steal the gold for themselves. Their leader, Golden Arm, is deadly, invulnerable with arms as solid and stiff as gold, but has a strong sense of honor. The other prominent members of the Chi Sha gang, namely Silver Spear, Iron Robe, and Brass Head, are also kung fu masters. Yan's mercenaries include a swordsman and his girlfriend and the drunken master, an undercover government agent secretly making sure the gold is safe, along with skilled martial artists Long Axe and Short Axe. The gold is the pivot in this tale as all sides plot to have it for themselves. This movie was made with the fans of the genre in mind at the peak of Chang Che and the Venom mob's power. Fan service is evident throughout all the unique and many action sequences between numerous memorable characters. Their different styles are masterfully portrayed by the director and the action choreographer of Shaw Brothers Studios, who, we have to admit, have rarely disappointed. The actors, trained in real-world martial arts themselves, each excel and bring the action to life on screen. The runtime is just 1 hour and 26 minutes and is entertaining throughout. The Avenging Eagle, 1978, a movie with an exceptional storyline. The Avenging Eagle is the tale of Chick Ming Sing, played by T. Lung. Orphaned and sold to the bandit group the Iron Boat Clan, Chick is raised as a ruthless killer. However, when the chief police officer saves him, he learns kindness for the first time in his life and renounces his old ways, thereby inviting the wrath of his old clan chief, Yog Zi Hung. With Chuk Yi Fan, portrayed by Alexander Fu, a mysterious stranger with an agenda of his own, Chick must battle his old clan to redeem himself and find peace finally. The leads of the movie, T. Lung and Alexander Fu, and Ku Feng, the main antagonist, were all internationally famed stars at the time. As such, when casting them, The Avenging Eagle had a high budget, even by other Shaw Brothers movie standards. Sun Chung, already a veteran director at this point, uses his expertise to showcase his star's talents and utilize the movie's strong story to deliver a true classic of the genre. As usual, the many fight sequences fit right into the plot and capture the wonder of kung fu and martial arts, which captivated the world then. It's an engaging watch, a martial arts drama with a brilliant script. Flying Guillotine, 1975. One of those rare movies from the Shaw Brothers Studios in the 1970s, rich in story and drama. The Flying Guillotine is a period piece about a special commando unit officer, Chen Quantai. Chen works for the Emperor, and he and his squad mates perform several high-target assassinations using a flying guillotine, a unique assassination device invented at the request of the Emperor. The team also consists of Frankie Y, Chen's adversary in the movie, serving the role of the primary antagonist. However, Chen soon realizes that the assassinations they've been doing are nothing but the Emperor silencing his critics. Anyone who seems to be against the Emperor is silenced, friend or foe. Frankie, who's close to the Emperor secretly, makes Chen a target for the assassination squad as he questions the Emperor. Chen runs away with the help of loyal friends inside his unit and starts a family after meeting and falling in love with a girl. However, his past catches up to him as his old assassination squad and Frankie discover his hiding location, and it's up to Chen now to protect his family. Unlike other Shaw Brothers movies from that era, this movie is surprisingly story-driven and not only focuses on the action to do all the heavy lifting. While you're right to expect a lot of blood and gore in a movie named The Flying Guillotine, with heads rolling left and right, Chen's performance drives the film. A massive commercial success for the Shaw Brothers and also popularly loved. Do give this a watch. Five Fingers of Death, 1972. The story of our next entry revolves around Chi Hao, a young martial arts student in love with his master's daughter, Yin Yin. To win Yin Yin's hand in marriage, Chi Hao must win the martial arts tournament and goes to the master of the Iron Fist, Shen Qinpei. He's quickly humbled here, but quickly rises to be the top student and eventually the chosen successor of the Iron Fist technique. However, another martial arts master, Ming Dong Shun, stands in his way, as our protagonist must overcome the death of his master at the villain's hand, earn his retribution, and win the tournament to win the girl he loves. Directed by Zhong Changhua, this movie was released in the same year as Enter the Dragon, and even had a North American release under the moniker King Boxer. A commercial success of its time, the movie earned more than $10 million worldwide, finding unprecedented success in the European market too. With its relatively short runtime of 97 minutes, the film captures the audience with its skillful display of numerous martial arts techniques. The fights between various core characters of the movie are memorable, as it goes beyond the simple trope of beating up nameless thugs and provides backstories to the main cast to make the audience care about them. Lo Lieh shines in the role of Chi Hao and proves why he was cast repeatedly in the 1970s as the lead for such kung fu movies. Heroes of the East, 1978. Heroes of the East is yet another Shaw Brothers martial arts movie directed by Lau Kar-leung, with Gordon Liu in the lead role. This combination was wildly successful in the 1970s, and Shaw Brothers made good money whenever they greenlit a project involving them. Heroes of the East is no exception. Well, at the heart of this story is the cultural difference between China's and Japan's martial arts techniques. Our hero marries a Japanese woman who is an expert in Japanese ninjutsu. Tensions rise as the couple disagrees over which fighting style is superior. The wife decides to go back to Japan. In his bid to win her back, our hero writes her a letter stating Chinese martial arts is superior to get her back to China by enraging her and hurting her pride. However, the letter falls into the wrong hands, and soon Japan's top ninjutsu masters are in China, and Gordon Liu has to find innovative ways to beat each of their different styles as he tries to win his bride back. Masterful in his execution, Lau Kar-leung showcases his deep knowledge of the different techniques of kung fu through this movie. The movie departs the usual storyline revolving around revenge stories and instead takes a very detailed approach in pitting various combat styles of China and Japan against each other and finding out which is superior. Chinese styles always win, but that doesn't mean the Japanese martial arts were mistreated here. Another classic from the studios. Mad Monkey Kung Fu, 1979. Mad Monkey Kung Fu is a tragic tale of revenge from famed director Lau Kar-leung, which also casts Xiao Ho as the thief with a good heart, Monkey. Lau Kar-leung casts himself as Chen, a martial arts master of the monkey style, who runs a successful opera with his attractive sister, but is also a drunk. Their success invites the ire of local gangster and brothel owner Tuan, who wants Chen's sister for himself. Chen is falsely accused of raping Tuan's wife and can't defend himself as he's too drunk to remember anything, thereby being sentenced to death. Tuan, however, offers Chen amnesty by making his sister agree to be his concubine and cripple Chen's hand so he can't practice kung fu anymore. Years later, Chen is a street performer performing with his monkey when he comes across Xiao Ho's young character, Monkey, who takes an interest in Chen. Over time, Monkey learns of the sorrowful past of Chen and vows to take revenge for his master and friend while undergoing training in the Monkey School of Kung Fu, in which he's naturally gifted. Monkey then sets off to exact vengeance against Tuan and its master and student versus the old nemesis in the climax of the movie. This movie is Lau Kar-leung's debut as a lead actor, and he shows why he's a skilled martial artist. The story is tragic, and Chen is the heart of the movie. Xiao Ho portrays his talent as the compelling character, Monkey. Watching the two men bond as master and pupil as well as friends as they train together is a treat, and you'll be rooting for Monkey as he grows from being a naive young man who steals to survive to becoming a calm and composed master of the monkey-style kung fu. If you want to see the man who brought so many of the Shaw Brothers classics to life, give this a definite watch. Vengeance, 1970. Guan Yulu, played by Ti Lung, is a successful opera actor during the 1920s whose wife had been targeted by the wealthy kung fu master Feng, who also happens to be his boss. Guan retaliates by warning his boss to stay away from his wife, who kills Guan brutally because of that. The movie is aptly titled Vengeance, and the rest of the plot is simple. Zhao Lu, Guan's brother, is now back for revenge. The movie won various awards, with director Chang Cheh winning the Best Director Award at the 16th Asian Film Festival. At the same time, the movie also bagged the Best Actor and Asia's First Movie King Award. It's one of the Shaw Brothers and Chang Cheh's early movies, and it heavily focuses on knives instead of the more skilled martial arts hand-to-hand fight sequences that we're accustomed to from Chang. You would immediately realize while watching this movie that its tone is different from earlier Shaw Brothers films, as they try to migrate into the kung fu genre, with this being one of their bloodier presentations. A particular scene from the movie's opening, where Guan is getting killed, is simultaneously interspersed with his opera sequences, thereby showing a real-life versus real-life portrayal, which announces Chang's directorial nuances to the world. Vengeance will satisfy your more basic gratification of watching a good old revenge storyline. The Black Tavern, 1972. Teddy Yip directs his second Shaw Brothers movie, an inn-based storyline, aptly named the Black Tavern. A corrupt official is soon to visit this Black Tavern, which is named so because almost everyone in there is a shady character. The official is carrying all the riches he's gathered over his years at work and intends to retire with it. However, there's a monk singing songs about this wealth. That song soon gathers a motley crew of people conspiring to get their hands on his wealth. This simple premise leads to many action sequences, as expected from a 1970s Shaw Brothers movie. What's unexpected, though, is the amount of violence Teddy's willing to show on screen. Indeed, the Shaw Brothers movies of the 70s never shy away from blood, but this being one of their early ventures, the action will satiate those who like gore. The film also references and casts older plot characters from earlier Shaw Brothers movies, giving it a connected universal feel, though the link is relatively small. Another aspect that works for the movie is that there's no real protagonist. Everyone serves their purpose, and it's fun to predict their next moves, because those are taken out of selfish motives. Limiting all the action in a setting like an inn with all these compelling characters makes the Black Tavern a more than enjoyable watch, something you'll surely enjoy. Killer Constable, 1980. When 2 million tael is stolen from the treasury, the empress of the 19th century Qing dynasty orders the chief of her security, Master Lu, to track down the men who committed the robbery. The task eventually falls to Leng Qianying, played by Chen Quantai, who's known for his ruthless reputation, earning him the nickname which serves as the title of the movie, Killer Constable. The Killer Constable will track down the robbers and learn the identity of the true mastermind behind the robberies while leaving a bloody trail across rural China due to his brutal torturing and execution-style justice. Released in 1980, Killer Constable follows director Chi Hung Kwai's style of producing violent horror thriller genre, with an emphasis on commentating on the socio-political climate of erstwhile China and the inequality between the ruling classes and the oppressed rural people and their insignificant lives. The action sequences are authentic, and real weapons are used to add to the movie's realism. It's a gritty watch, deviating from the heroic Chang Cheh films that define the Shaw Brothers studio kung fu films, since none of the lead characters in this movie is of pure morals and virtue. Fist of the White Lotus, 1980. The premise is simple. Hung Wen-ting, played by Gordon Liu, and his brother defeat the evil Pai Mei, the White Lotus priest portrayed by Lo Lieh. Now, Pai Mei's brother is seeking vengeance. After Pai Mei's brother attacks the heroes, only Hung and his sister-in-law escape, and he must master his kung fu techniques to defeat the White Lotus clan so that he can live without fear and take revenge. Almost a remake of 1977's Executioners from Shaolin, this movie is a bit of a role reversal, as this time Lo Lieh directs it and casts himself as the brother of the white-eyed monk Pai Mei to bring to life the iconic kung fu character from the 1970s. In the lead role are Gordon Liu and Kara Wai, playing his sister-in-law. Fist of the White Lotus is a brilliant movie with fight choreography done by the legendary Lau Kar-leung that guarantees long-shot, uncut sequences of brilliant hand-to-hand combat and other martial arts skills. Though the film doesn't brand itself as a remake, the similarities are clear, and you should check it out if you loved the original 1977 movie, which is also a Shaw Brothers Studios presentation. My Young Auntie, 1981. Kara Hui plays Cheng Tai Nun, a female martial arts champion who marries an older man to make sure that his estates don't pass on to his evil brother, the antagonist of the film, Yu Yang Sheng, portrayed by Wang Lung Wei. After her husband's death, she moves in with Yu Cheng Chuan, played by Lau Kar-leung, an in-law relative. Cheng Tai Nun is attracted to Cheng Chuan's son, Yu Tao, played by Xiao Ho. Together, they must stop the evil brother as he steals the property estate papers. This movie is a family property drama presented with a martial arts action scenario. Lau Kar-leung takes plot stories like a property dispute and turns it into an enthralling action movie. At the same time, Kara Hui and Xiao Ho show their fantastic chemistry together on screen as they start from hating each other to Xiao's character fighting to save her when young Sheng abducts her. Lau Kar-leung casts himself as Xiao's father, and they reprise their winning combination from movies like Mad Monkey Kung Fu. Kara Hui's martial prowess is also on full display, carefully curated by Lau Kar-leung's exceptional fight choreography to make memorable fight sequences. Boxer from Shantung, 1972. Boxer from Shantung is another Shaw Brothers classic by the legendary Chang Che. The story follows two manual daily wage laborers, Ma Yong-zhen, played by Chen Kwang-tai, one of the top action stars of the early 70s and a Chang favorite, and Zhao Zhangbei, portrayed by Qin Kang-ye. Ma Yong-zhen is noticed by David Chang's Tan Si, an underworld boss, who is impressed by his fighting skills. Ma Yong-zhen soon becomes the biggest name in the underworld circle and must avenge his godfather, Tan Si, when a rival boss kills him. Boxer from Shantung is a story of how two young men get intertwined in the shady underbelly of Shanghai and a commentary on the crime scene of Shanghai during the 1930s. Boxer from Shantung is a gripping tale that will remind you of the Godfather movies. The epic finale of the film is an excellent example of the directorial capabilities of Chang Che, as it's a brilliantly shot sequence of a long-drawn, bloody battle that goes against the initial slow, plot-building pacing of the movie. As the name suggests, a lot of fistfights are also involved. I strongly recommend watching this to enjoy the climax and the satisfying end that it delivers. One-Armed Swordsman, 1967. One of the earliest Chang Che films for the Shaw Brothers Studios, One-Armed Swordsman is the tale of Fang Kang, played by Jimmy Wang. Fang, the son of a poor servant, is accepted under the martial arts tutelage of Qi Rufeng. However, he's constantly ridiculed for his poor background, and eventually, in a scuffle with some of the students and his teacher's daughter, he loses an arm. He's found and nursed back to health by Zhou Man, portrayed by the beautiful Lisa Chow Chow, who also gives him an old martial arts book that teaches him one-armed swordsmanship. When old enemies threaten his master, the nefarious long-armed devil and smiling Tiger Chen, who kill all his master's students and wounds Qi Rufeng, Fang must break his promise to Zhao and go to his master's rescue. The commercial success of this movie shot director Chang Che to stardom. It cemented his place as the most trusted director for the Shaw Brothers Studios as they slowly moved from more romance-based drama to producing more gritty kung fu films. The movie has 3 sequels, making it a trilogy before sequels were fashionable. Jimmy Wang found international fame and was typecast later into several roles of a disabled kung fu master. Such was his brilliance in this movie. This movie was extremely well received by critics and found a cult following. Executioners from Shaolin, 1977. Executioners from Shaolin is the inspiration behind the Fist of the White Lotus, which we saw earlier in this video. Directed by Lau Kar-leung, we see the legendary Pai Mei, or Master Whitebrows, played by Lo Lieh, in this movie. The movie opens with a screen crawl, explaining Pai Mei's invasion of the Shaolin Temple and setting up an opening fight with the temple master Qi Shan. Qi Shan is defeated by Pai Mei, who seems invulnerable as no attacks seem to harm him. Qi Shan's top aide, Tung Chin Chin, portrayed by Gordon Liu, also falls after heroically defending the remaining Shaolin students, giving them time to flee. The remaining students are led by Song Si Quan, played by Chen Kwang-tai. Song meets and falls in love with Wing Chun, played by the lovely Lily Li, herself a master of the crane style, and they have a child named Wen Ting. Sung hones his skills to challenge Pai Mei finally, but falls in battle as his tiger style proves insufficient to defeat Pai Mei's invulnerable defense. The responsibility of defeating Pai Mei then falls to Wen Ting, who must learn both his father's tiger style and his mother's crane style to stand a chance against the legendary Whitebrows. This movie made Pai Mei a pop icon, that white bushy kung fu antagonist we instantly recognize today. Directed by Lau Kar-leung, it's no wonder that Executioners from Shaolin boasts the best fight sequences in any of the extensive Shaw Brothers martial arts movie catalogs. We see a deep dive into the different animal-based schools of kung fu. There's excellent screen chemistry between Lily Li and Chen Kwang-tai, whose stubbornness to learn his wife's technique that ultimately led to his failure and demise is also a commentary on the shallow sexism prevalent in the martial arts world. Return of the One-Armed Swordsman, 1969. The One-Armed Swordsman, now a retired fighter, lives a content, uneventful life with his wife. In the Kung Fu world, the 8 sword kings emerge, each with a distinct sword technique, and kidnap all the known teachers of the martial arts community. They demand that all students sacrifice their sword hand in return for their masters' lives. In desperation, everyone turns to the one-armed swordsman Fang, who must battle and defeat all 8 Sword Kings. Jimmy Wang and Chang Che return to Part 2 of the One-Armed Swordsman trilogy, which was released in 1969. This movie picks up on the first part in terms of action sequences, as it showcases Chang's growing confidence as a master of martial arts movies, as he showcases different fictional martial arts sword styles through the 8 antagonists and pits our one-armed hero against them, with innovative ways to defeat each one. The beautiful Lisa Chow Chow also reprises her role as Jimmy's on-screen wife. A great watch. You won't be disappointed if you loved the first part.
说谁？你们在说谁？
The new one-armed swordsman, 1971. Director Chang Cheh returns with the Shaw Brothers' winning IP in the third part of the one-armed swordsman trilogy. It stars David Chang as the lead character, Lei Li, an expert swordsman and a martial arts master. However, losing a fight against Long Chi, a megalomaniacal master who loves to put himself into situations that make him seem like the savior, costs Lei Li his arm. Lei Li then retires to a countryside inn as a waiter and vows never to fight again, until he's discovered by another skilled swordsman, Feng, played by Ti Lung. Ti Lung discovers his true identity and vows to exact revenge for his new friend, but loses his life against Long Chi. It finally causes Lei Li to break his vows, and the one-armed swordsman must have a rematch against the three-section staff-wielding Long Chi, whom he lost against when he had both his arms. Chang Cheh had to break his association with Jimmy Wang as Jimmy left the Shaw Brothers studios for other projects. Thus, this story has no continuity from the first two movies and is a standalone movie in its own right. By 1971, the wuxia-themed movies by the Shaw Brothers were in full throttle, and we can see a marked change in Chang's treatment of the movie, as it follows the more familiar vengeance and incessant blood and gore plots of the 1970s Shaw Brothers films. With Lau Kar-leung as the fight choreographer, the action sequences are mind-blowing and will delight your inner wuxia-loving fan. Invincible Shaolin, 1978. After the enormous commercial success of the 5 Venoms, there was no way that the Shaw Brothers were not making more movies with the same director and cast. Invincible Shaolin is the second movie featuring Venom Mob, directed by Chang Cheh. The story revolves around a king general, played by Wang Longwei, and his scheme to destroy the Shaolin temples and their masters to end their influence over the Qing dynasty. He designs a tournament and invites the masters of the northern Shaolin temples to fight against mere disciples of the southern Shaolin temples, and makes it look like the northern masters killed the southern disciples. It sparks a Shaolin civil war, and the general's plan is almost successful until he's found out, and the Shaolin temples must keep their new rivalry aside to unite and thwart the general. It's a simple premise, but what makes this movie work is Chang Cheh's experience, combined with the skills of the Venom Mob, who, when cast into these martial art master roles, displayed excellent screen chemistry, making the fight sequences exceptionally fluid and look amazing. When this movie became another commercial success, Shaw Brothers knew they had to make more Venom Mob movies and market them as such. The Magic Blade, 1976. The Magic Blade is a movie that shares the same name as its source material, The Magic Blade, written by Ku Lung. The film casts the usual Shaw Brothers baddie, Lo Lieh, of the Pai Mei fame, as a protagonist this time, and teams him up with Ti Lung, his rival initially, but with whom he has to ally to keep the peacock darts from falling into the wrong hands. What follows is an insane exhibition of the most spectacular weapons ever seen in martial arts movies. Directed by Cho Yuen, this is one of the more exceptional Shaw Brothers movies, as by 1976, the year it was released, the studio had perfected the formula for making these wuxia movies thrive. Ti Lung's side-gripped sword, the ninja dressed as a tree, and the peacock darts are examples of weapons and over-the-top plot elements used for this movie. The peacock darts, for instance, are feathered darts which act like tactical nukes, killing everyone in a small area without any chance of survival. Cho Yuen also showcases his chops as a director by moving away from the fast-paced, quick-edit fighting styles to longer shot-based wide-angled action sequences, which are brilliantly shot in dark settings, as most of the movie takes place during the nighttime. Come Drink With Me, 1966. Come Drink With Me, or The Great Drunken Hero, was one of Shaw Brothers' earliest ventures into the genre and gave Cheng Pai Pai her breakout role as the Golden Sparrow, the daughter of the governor. With the bandit Jade-faced Tiger, played by Chang Hung-lit, kidnapping her brother and using him as a bargaining chip to secure a prison release for his master, it's up to the Golden Swallow to rescue her brother and restore peace. She's assisted by the Drunken Cat, portrayed by Wei Hua, a local beggar with a secret of being a martial arts master, and together they fight the Drunken Cat's blood brother as well as the Jade-faced Tiger. With such fabulous names as Drunken Cat, Golden Swallow, Jade-faced Tiger, expansive Shaw Brothers sets and outdoor locations in Taiwan, Come Drink With Me was a massive hit in Hong Kong and China upon release, instantly shooting its cast into stardom and leading the Shaw Brothers studios of branching out into kung fu-themed movies. Director King Hu expertly weaves Cheng Pai Pai's ballet and dancing skills with martial arts to create some spectacular action sequences. while the depth of the plot in this one keeps the movie in the viewer's memory long after it's been watched. One of the greats. Martial Club, 1981. Martial Club, directed by Lau Kar-leung, is a simple tale of martial arts schools and their rivalry. Gordon Liu reprises his role as Wong Fai-hung from Challenge of the Masters, and is pulled into a feud with another martial arts school alongside his friend, who was once his rival. The master of this third school uses the skills of a northern Shaolin practitioner, Master Shen, played by Wang Lung-wei, who's usually known better for playing a villain, for his nefarious schemes. He successfully pits Liu's character Fai-hung and Wang Lung-wei's Master Shen against each other, but upon realizing that he's being played, Master Shen decides to work with Fai-hung. Whenever Lau Kar-leung reunites with his Gordon Liu, Kara Hui, and Xiao Ho, and adds Wong Fai-hung to the mix in a surprise role where he isn't playing a villain, you have the Shaw brothers' tried and tested formula for a great kung fu movie. Lau combines humor with action in this surprisingly bloodless movie. The climactic fight between Liu and Wei's characters is exceptional, and will make you understand the appeal of this genre. The action sequences, as usual, prove why Lau is the best at what he does, being a fight choreographer turned director. Shaolin Prince, 1982. The next movie is Shaolin Prince, a tale of two twin princes separated at birth as an evil Ninth Lord or Iron Fingers tries to kill them to usurp the throne and keep all the power to himself. The younger brother, Wang Tzu Tai, played by Derek Lee, is raised by an old guard of the emperor, while the older brother, Tao Hing, is raised by three old monks who teach him the secrets of the Yijin Jing. Fate finally brings the brothers together as they discover their true identities as princes, and then battle the evil Ninth Lord together to claim back the throne that is rightfully theirs. One of the later-era Shaw Brothers films, this movie marks the directorial debut of Chia Tang, a well-known choreographer. Chia demonstrates his knowledge of fight choreography in this film as kung fu-styled fight sequences take front and center stage and carry the film from the opening sequence to the final scene. Humor is also central to the film, especially T-lung sequences with the old monks who train him, providing comic relief to the movie, though some of the jokes may fall a bit flat. Overall, a delightful watch. Challenge of the Masters, 1976. This movie serves as the origin story for the Wong Fai-hung character, played by Gordon Liu in later films such as The Martial Club. Fai-hung is the son of a martial arts teacher who won't teach him kung fu. Overeager and cocky, but not particularly skillful, Fai-hung is ridiculed badly. He thus seeks tutelage under Lu Ah-tsai, played by Chen Quan-tai, a venerable master of the arts, who, after some grueling training over a couple of years, molds Fai-hung into the folklore hero of China that we all know of today. Fai-hung returns to participate in the Pow competition and must defeat the dangerous criminal from the north, played by the director Lau Kar-leung, who is on a rampage murdering respected martial arts masters. This movie marks the debut of Gordon Liu in Shaw Brothers films in the lead, and the well-celebrated partnership between him and Lau Kar-leung is evident right off the bat. Working with already celebrated stars such as Chen Quan-tai, Lau, the fight choreographer in many of the earlier movies where director Chang Che cast Chen Tai as his lead, uses that familiarity to his knowledge. Lau's brilliance is evident as the training montage in this movie is one of the best and serves as the core of the story, giving the much-celebrated Fai-hung character the depth it needs to be such a legend. Lau Kar-leung once again demonstrates his skill as the best fight choreographer and director by shooting memorable action sequences throughout the film. Golden Swallow, 1968. In a sequel to the much-celebrated Come Drink With Me, Cheng Pei-pei reprises her role as the Golden Swallow as she teams up with two men, the virtuous Silver Rock, a mad swordsman played by Jimmy Wang Yu, and Golden Whip, a warrior with a gentle heart portrayed by Lo Lie. Together, they must stop a dark figure from the Golden Swan's past as he embarks on a killing spree, all of which seems to connect Golden Swallow to the crimes and incriminates her. Things take a different turn though as both of her partners fall in love with her and decide to fight to the death, and Golden Swallow must stand between them and decide to whom her affection belongs. A story about the Chinese folklore hero Golden Swallow, the gorgeous and incredibly skilled Cheng Pei-pei once again shines in her role portraying the heroine. The legendary Chang Che, who had already produced a smash hit with Jimmy Wang Yu in One-Armed Swordsman, released a few months before Golden Swallow, takes the reins from director King Hu. Chang brings his usual fare of blood and high casualties with fatality-style execution to this movie, thereby changing the tone to something of a blood and gore romance action flick in contrast with the earlier Who movie. It's one of the movies whose success also cemented Chang's usual way of storytelling through films and his signature style. Expect a similarity in style with the one-armed swordsman, and that's quite a nice thing. Killer Clans, 1976. Two clans are fighting each other in our next movie. The Lung Men Society is led by Uncle, played by the sprightly Ku Feng, while the Rock Society hires assassin Meng Xiangwen, portrayed by Cheng Hua. However, Cheng Hua has to contend not only with Uncle, who's sharper than a knife and stronger than an ox himself, but also his walking armories Lu Xiangchuan, played by Wei Hua, and Han Tang, played by a younger Lo Lie. The assassin Meng, the main protagonist, soon falls in love with Uncle's daughter and fights for him, thereby doing a poor job at murdering him. However, plot twists happen as the real mastermind and backstabber are soon revealed, and it's up to Uncle and Meng to find out who they can't trust and stop them. Inspired by Meteor, Butterfly, and Sword from Gulong, this Shaw Brothers classic already had a solid source material. Director Cho Yuen and fight choreographer Tang Chia and Yuan Chung Chan do great in this movie. The action sequences complement the storyline well, and Ku Feng steals the show in this movie as the uncle, a character you'll remember a long time after watching. The Water Margin, 1972. The source material for this movie is the Chinese epic Outlaws of the Marsh. The film deals with a small chapter from that epic. It narrates how the Chinese folklore hero, Jade Unicorn Lu Junyi, comes to the Liangshan Mountains and battles the corrupt government of the Song dynasty by joining the rebels. The movie describes how the Liangshan mountain rebels travel to find Lu Junyi and his trusted servant Yan Qing. Lu Junyi's steward tips off the government about the presence of the rebel in Lu's household, as he wanted to get rid of his master, who was in an adulterous relationship with Lu Junyi's wife. Lu's capture was destined for execution, but his servant Yan Qing returns with more rebel forces from the Liangshan Mountains as they rescue Lu and take him back to Liangshan. Lu manages to recover and take revenge on his traitorous steward and wife, and finally duels his former master Shi Wanggong, who serves as the movie's primary antagonist. Directed by Chang Che, with his most trusted actors David Chang playing the gifted Yan Qing Lu, Ti Lung playing the magic sword Wu Song, Tetsuro Tamba playing Lu Jianyi, and a host of other stars of the time, the ensemble cast of The Water Margin is vast. Chang Che does a powerful job of bringing it all together to portray a folklore story that everyone in China knows well. He manages to do everything right in this movie, with expansive outdoor shots and brilliantly shot and sufficiently bloody fight sequences, involving many skilled martial artists in dynamic battle scenes. David Chiang, however, shines as Yan Qing Lu, the prodigy at the heart of the movie, delivering a stunning performance that's remembered to this day as one of his best. The Water Margin is one of Chiang's masterpieces. The Heroic Ones, 1970. Another Chang Che and Shaw Brothers Studios classic, The Heroic Ones is the story of 13 generals or adopted sons of Li Kyung, portrayed by Ku Feng, set during the last days of the Tang dynasty in early medieval China. They must fight together against the self-proclaimed rebel emperor, Huang Chao. Trouble ensued when two of the 13 brothers defected and allied with Ambassador Zhu Wen, a representative of the Tang dynasty, played by Chan Xing. It's up to the rest of the brothers to band together to stop the rebel emperor and Zhu Wen. Chang Che again teams up with David Chiang, who plays the 13th brother or general, and Ti Lung, who plays the 11th. In this highly blood and gore movie, action sequences are a dime a dozen, with David Chiang again taking the starring role as the calm and unbothered hero, seemingly unstoppable. The movie's second half features some genuinely enormous battle sequences, where scores of fighters display multitudes of impressive skills. Much weaponry is used to make the fight sequences as bloody as they can be, quite intentionally. Get ready to see brothers calling each other with their numbers, as it'd be impossible to remember 13 names for the audience. Still, you'll be okay with it as soon as you stop caring for the overarching narrative of the movie and get immersed in what Chang does best, keeping you on your tenterhooks, chaining one action scene sequence to the other. The Deadly Duo, 1971. By now, you know that Chang Che and Shaw Brothers Studios formed a formidable partnership with David Chiang and Ti Lung in the early 70s. They were known as the Iron Triangle, and some of their movies are the best the SB Studios ever produced. In some sense, these defined the genre. The Deadly Duo is one more from this Iron Triangle. If you're looking for a solid story-based kung fu movie, you're out of luck. Sometimes the SB classics forego plot to showcase action, and never before has it been more accurate than in the case of the Deadly Duo. Still, if you wanted some excellent Chang Che brutality with his favorites running amok from action sequence to action sequence, chaining kills as if it were a video game competition for combo moves, then you're in for a ride. Partnering with Chang for action choreography is the legendary Lau Kar-leung, and his knowledge of martial arts is on full display here. We also see some wuxia movie staples, as innovative weapons are thrown into the mix for our heroes to kill baddies with, or to find creative ways to counter them. You may want to watch a particular bridge sequence in the movie. At 77 minutes, it's shorter than some recent TV series finale. Legendary Weapons of China, 1982. As the name suggests, this 1982 movie from Lau Kar-leung is based on 18 legendary weapons from 19th century China. The movie follows 4 assassins sent by the Boxer clans during the time of the Boxer rebellions to find Lei Kung, played by Lau Kar-leung, who has dissolved his clan and embraced anonymity to prevent needless slaughter of his disciples as the Boxer clans try to find ways to combat Western firepower through more traditional means and possible use of magic. The assassins are Ti Hao, Xiao Ho, Ti Tan, Gordon Liu, Fang Xiaoqing, Kara Hui, and Lei Ying, Lau Ka-wing. They each have a distinctive martial arts style. Together they form temporary alliances as they try to find Lei Kung's hidden location. The focus of this movie is the different weapons showcased skillfully by Lau Kar-leung. He uses the plot to set up duels between other characters wielding these weapons and manages to spell out the weapon hierarchy, with each weapon being introduced in the movie and their advantages and disadvantages being listed. The weapons on display range from swords, spears, halberds, axes, hammers, 3-section staff, darts, etc. Although well aware that magic in Kung Fu is a myth, Lau Kar-leung does showcase some of the mythical magical prowess of Kung Fu, rumored to exist during the 19th century. The movie's climax also showcases a fight between Lau Kar-leung and his brother, Lu Ka-wing, as they use many of these legendary weapons. Shaolin Rescuers, 1979. Shaolin Rescuers is a tragic tale from Chang Che, starring his famous Venom mob. The opening sequence sees Pai Mei and Zhao Qin-chung killing several people, with Hung Si-kwan, played by Jason Pei Piao, the only one to escape. Pai Mei and Zhao take their men and keep searching for Hung. Meanwhile, Hung takes refuge with friends Chua Qin and Ying Cha Po, who spend their days aimlessly sparring and honing their fighting skills. Chu Tsai, a student, also joins them. Together, these unlikely heroes fight off Zhao and his men, trying to save Hung while putting their lives on the line. Shaolin Rescuers works best because of the Venom mob and Chang Che combination. The usual Chang Che dose of blood, murder, mutilation, and men fighting when they should be long dead from their wounds are abundant, as the movie both starts and ends with high-octane action sequences. Chang also throws some comedic relief in the middle, especially in all the scenes between Ah Chin and Cha Po, the two friends played by Lo Mang and Kuo Chi. The action sequences utilize Chang's slow-motion technique and stylized sequences to significant effect. If you like underdogs triumphing over evil in the unlikeliest of circumstances, then don't miss this one. The Deadly Mantis, Shaolin Mantis, 1978. David Chiang and Lau Kar-leung team up in this next SB Studios movie named The Shaolin Mantis. David Chiang plays Wai Feng, a student the Emperor sends to spy on the Tian clan to find their ties with the Ming loyalists and their role in the plotting of the downfall of the Qing dynasty. Wai Feng is blackmailed into taking up this task as his family's safety is threatened should he fail. Wai manages to befriend the granddaughter of the leader of the Tian clan, and eventually they fall in love. But when his true identity is exposed, he is only spared by the Tian with one condition: he may never leave the clan's village and marry the granddaughter. Wai Feng will now have to choose between his wife and saving his family, whose lives are in danger if he won't report back to the Emperor soon. In David Chiang, Lau Kar-leung had a trustworthy, experienced actor who masterfully pulled off all the action sequences demanded by the script. The sequences where he learns the mantis style by observing and shadowing an actual mantis are enjoyable to watch, while Lau Kar-leung ups his game from his earlier directions by making his action sequences faster paced, with sudden camera movements and zoom-ins, which definitely works because of Lau Kar-leung's thorough mastery of the martial arts. Gordon Liu also entertains in the opening sequences with a brilliant cameo. The Duel, 1971. Ti Lung plays Tang Ren-ji, the adopted son of triad leader Shen Tianheng. When Shen is murdered, he goes into exile, only to come back to find that Shen's estate and wealth are now in the hands of Gan Wenbin, who wants to kill Tang. Tang then comes across Rambler, a mysterious murderer who eventually becomes a friend as he reveals his true identity and secret motive. The two men must fight together to survive Gang's relentless onslaught of henchmen to exact revenge. The movie begins with an action sequence and never stops until the end. Released in 1971, the Iron Triangle comes together again in this action flick, as director Chang Che reunites with Ti Lung and David Chiang. The Duel serves 105 minutes of constant action. Plot is merely an excuse for the fights to switch from premise to premise, and it never stops. Chang's mastery of the environment and settings serve us with enormous quantities of blood as swords fly everywhere. You'll see a lot of red being painted all over, and end up wondering how much paint or ketchup was used in the making of this one. Two Champions of Shaolin, 1980. Tung Chien-chen, a Shaolin champion and a Ming supporter, is sent to take on the Wu-Tang chiefs. The Wu-Tang chief sends an assassin whose knife-wielding capabilities overpower our young Shaolin hero, and he's saved from near death by a brother and sister duo. This duo trains him on a unique technique with which he kills the assassin. Tung falls in love with the sister, and they plan to marry. They also befriend Hu Wei-chen, the second of the two champions. However, the enraged Wu-Tang chiefs raid their marriage ceremony, kill the bride, and capture Tung. It's up to Hu Wei-chen, who receives unexpected help to rescue Tung and exact revenge for his wife's murder. Two Champions of Shaolin is another Chang Che flick starring the Venom mob. It's chronologically the 10th movie for the Venoms and Chang in 2 years, and by this time, they were a well-oiled machine churning out hit after hit for the Shaw Brothers studios. Expect no missteps in this one, as you'll be served a wealthy dose of action, blood, death, gore, double-crossing, betrayal, and all other wuxia tropes by Chang in all of its glory. The 14 Amazons, 1972. The film is set during the Song Dynasty's war with the Tangut Empire. The story follows Mu Kuai-ying, the widow of General Yang Sung-pao, after his death in an ambush. With his son left as the only male heir to the Yang family, his mother, Mu Kuai-ying, and the entire family set out to defend the country and avenge the general's death. Politics and corrupt officials denied them the opportunity to use the imperial troops, forcing them to raise volunteer troops for the assault. After numerous failed efforts by the emperor of the Tangut Empire, their stronghold is raided successfully by the Yang family and the Sung soldiers due to the tactics of Mu Kuai-ying. The 14 Amazons is an award-winning film based on the female generals of the Yang family from the Song dynasty. This film was a huge box office hit. It was the runner-up in the Best Feature Film category, with the Best Director going to Chen Kang and Best Supporting Actress to Lisa Liu, and it also won Best Sound Effects for the 1973 11th Golden Horse Awards. Lily Ho won Outstanding Female Lead Performance in 1973 at the 19th Asian Film Festival. Sword Stained with Royal Blood, 1981 film. The story follows Wan Shengzi, who learns martial arts at the Long Yao School after his father's death. After completing his training, he starts on his adventures and chances upon the sword, darts, and martial arts manual of the well-known dead martial artist Golden Snake Jia Zhuayi. Here, he also discovers a lost treasure and gives instructions to deliver part of it to a particular woman. On his quest, he encounters a clan of martial artists with mastery of the 5-element array technique. The master of the Wen clan has a connection with the dead martial artist Wan discovered, and Yuan soon stumbles upon more secrets of the Wen clan. Now, Yuan must fight his way out of there and face the infamous 5-element array technique. Sword Stained with Royal Blood is based on a novel of the same name by Louis Cha. It was released in 1981 and is a Chang Che directed movie starring the Venom mob. It was a massive commercial hit in China upon release and has Chang Che's directorial styles on full display. The Deadly Breaking Sword, 1979. The story of the Deadly Breaking Sword revolves around Tuan Changqing, played by Ti Lung, a renowned swordsman with the habit of breaking an inch of his sword and leaving it in his enemies' corpses. Ti Lung's character defeats Lin Yin Xu early in the movie in a duel but fails to kill him, and Lin seeks help from the killer doctor, who uses his medical expertise to enhance Lin's skill and essentially control him. Ti Lung must pair up with Zhao Dao, his new friend, and a gambling addict, as they accept a quest from a woman to avenge her husband, who the killer doctor murdered. The Deadly Breaking Sword came out in 1979 and was directed by Sun Chung. Sun Chung, though one of the lesser-known directors from the SB Studios, creates a compelling movie with the Deadly Breaking Sword. Throughout its runtime, you'll feel the liberty taken by the director in both execution of the story and the action sequences, and may seem over the top at times, but it never fails to deliver the entertainment that it's supposed to. Ti Lung plays the male protagonist, a silent, brooding, ruthless man. His chemistry with Alexander Fusheng Zhao Dao, who brings comedic relief to the movie, is enjoyable to watch. The Sentimental Swordsman, 1977. The film follows swordsman Li Qinhuan, played by Ti Lung, and his journey through the ups and downs of life, where he leaves his wife and seeks solace in alcohol. His journey around the country has him befriend the skilled fighter Ah Fei, portrayed by Derek Yee, who quickly wins Li's trust. Li's world, however, takes a turn for the exciting when he tries to acquire the gold armor shirt, an indestructible armor piece, but has to deal with assassins sent after him by the elusive Plum Blossom Bandit, whose identity has been a mystery for a long time. The Sentimental Swordsman came out in 1977, directed by Cho Yuen and produced by Run Run Shaw of Shaw Brothers Studio, and was one of their highest-earning films. The film is full of intrigues and double crosses, which adds flavor to the numerous fight sequences. The movie plays out nicely and is accentuated by a satisfactory performance by its cast, especially Ti Lung and Derek Yee. 10 Tigers from Kwangtung, 1980. This story is told in flashback by Wang Chaoming and Lin Fusheng about the martial artists who came together to form a group known as the 10 Tigers. The original 10 Tigers were responsible for assisting anti-Qing revolutionary leader Chai Minyu against King General Yang. The movie shows how the original Tigers came together and fought against General Yang, eventually defeating and killing him. In the present, the disciples of the original 10 Tigers, the new 10 Tigers, are on the run from General Yang's nephew and sword brother and must reorganize themselves to push back the avenging Manchus. 10 Tigers from Kwangtung was released in 1980 and is directed by Chang Che and stars Ti Lung, Alexander Fusheng, Wai Pei, Dick Wai, Sun Qian, Lu Feng, Philip Kwok, and a host of other Chang stars. It also features extensive outdoor shoots with sprawling sets used in the SB Studios in Hong Kong to perform indoor ones. Chang revisits the rivalry of the Shaolin with the Qing dynasty. He has much to offer to engage history buffs, especially with the costumes and the sets providing a peek into those troubled times in China. As always, the action presents itself in full Chang style, with a lot of blood being spilled whenever action sequences occur. Watch it for its all-star cast. Disciples of the 36th Chamber, 1985. Disciples of the 36th Chamber is director Lau Kar-leung's third foray featuring the legendary 36th Chamber of the Shaolin Temple. Gordon Liu returns as the venerable monk San Te, and joining him for this movie is Xiao Ho's Fong Sai-huk, a legendary martial artist from Chinese folklore. Set during the Qing dynasty rule, the Manchus serve as the antagonists as they try to befriend young Fong Sai-huk to gather intel about the Shaolin Temple to destroy it once and for all. The gullible Fong falls into their trap and keeps feeding valuable information about the secretive Shaolin monks and the temple, until San Te realizes their motives and tries to stop Fong by showing him the Manchu's actual color and reasons. The movie chronicles Fong Sai-huk's early days and how he came to be part of the trainees, learning Shaolin Kung Fu in the 36th Chamber under San Te's tutelage. Directed by Lau Kar-leung and starring Xiao Ho and Gordon Liu, this is one of this genre's late SB Studio releases. As usual, Xiao Ho and Gordon Liu are terrific in their roles, and Lau Kar-leung's excellent fight choreography makes this movie a must-watch. Chinatown Kid, 1977. Starring Alexander Fusheng, Chinatown Kid is a Chang Cheh-directed movie where Alexander plays Tan Tung, a street martial artist. Quickly rising through the underworld ranks, Tan Tung is confronted by the Hong Kong Triad and escapes to San Francisco, realizing he can't win. In San Francisco, Tan Tung eventually rises in the criminal organization of the White Dragon Boss, played by Philip Kwok. However, Tang befriends Yang Qing, who's in San Francisco for his education. Venom mob movies never flopped, and this one is no exception to the rule. The film stars the Venom mob with Chang Cheh, and once Alexander Fusheng is thrown into the mixture, it has all the ingredients for a major box office success. Alexander and Sun Qian's chemistry as the two Chinese immigrants in San Francisco is the heart of the movie, as the two men from wildly different backgrounds, under significantly different circumstances, choose wildly different lifestyles, all while working together in the same restaurant. It's the movie that made Alexander Fusheng an international star. Holy Flame of the Martial World, 1983. Directed by Lu Qin-ku, this movie, set in the 1980s, is an action fantasy film, which slightly differs from the set-piece action drama movies the Shaw Brothers studios were making in the 1970s. While martial arts and kung fu are central to this film, it also incorporates elements of mystical and fantastical nature, making it such a fun watch. The story revolves around our young hero Yin Tianchu, portrayed by Max Mock, and Tu Chuan'e, played by young Jingjing, the female lead. Yin Tianchu is on a quest to avenge the death of his parents and is looking for an old relic, a sword, that will help him do so. He encounters his romantic interest as well as his partner in the movie, Tu Chuan'e, and they have to fight the deadly Omai sect chief, Xing Yin, played by Lin Suihua, who's trying to take the relic for her nefarious plan of using it to rule over all of martial arts. A Shaw Brothers thoroughfare, this movie has action sequences that cross into the realm of magic and fantasy. We can see people flying around, objects disappearing, and laser beams being shot from fingers, alongside the intense kung fu style for which this genre is so well known. The plot keeps you hooked till the end, and the action ensures that the movie never slows down. This flick from the 80s will keep you tied to your seats the whole time. Directed by Chang Cheh and starring once again the infamous Venom mob with the evergreen Kara Hui and the international sensation Alexander Fusheng, Life Gamble is a 1979 movie by the Shaw Brothers studio with an intricate storyline. The plot revolves around a stolen jade which finds its way to the Golden Lion. A gambler played by Wang Lung-wei and his bodyguard Yun Zhang, played by Fu Sheng, and secret kung fu master cum blacksmith Qiu Ziyu, portrayed by Philip Kwok. This jade was stolen originally from Master Nan, played by Li Yi-min, by a quartet of thieves. The plot thickens as many parties try to take the jade for their schemes. A big budget for its time, a Venom mob casting at the peak of their fame, with Alexander Fusheng in the lead role and directed by the famed Chang Cheh. Life Gamble is another successful movie released by the studio in its heyday, featuring many innovative weapons that blend with the story. This plot-rich movie keeps you interested from the beginning until an action-packed finale at the end beautifully wraps up the film. Flag of Iron, 1980. Fans of the wuxia genre can never get enough of Chang Cheh's Venom mob films, and thus, when Flag of Iron, a 1980 movie featuring the much-loved group, was released, it was well known that it would be another hit from the famed studios. This is your standard Chang Cheh stuff. The story of this film involves two rival martial arts schools and their rivalry, with some betrayal and revenge thrown into the mixture. The Iron Flag chief is killed, and the main suspect, the Iron Tiger Cao Feng, played by Lu Feng, arranges for his brother, the Iron Leopard, played by Philip Kwok, to be convicted instead of him. The gullible brother agrees, but the Iron Tiger then wants to assassinate his brother. The real killer, the white-robed wanderer, reveals the truth as the Iron Leopard must band with his younger brother, the Iron Monkey, to take revenge and stop the Iron Tiger. Thoroughly enjoyable, Flag of Iron, as its name suggests, is mainly about the Iron Flag clan, who fight using long spears with flags on them. The fight sequences, choreographed by the Venom mob themselves, inevitably blend the fascinating weapons with the movie's beautiful costume design to give it a distinctive style and visuals that the audience will remember for a long time, even after watching the movie. Delightful Forest, 1972. This 1972 movie, another one by master director Chang Che, is based on a 14th century Chinese novel named The Water Margin, or Outlaws of the Marsh. The Delightful Forest is a prequel to that movie and happens much earlier in the novel's timeline, thereby setting up the character of Wu Sung, played by Ti Lung. Chang Che has made other movies from this famous Chinese epic, including the titular Water Margin, which we've already spoken about in this video. The story opens with Ti Lung killing his sister-in-law and her lover for their role in the murder of Wu Sung's brother due to an extramarital affair they were having. After the murder, however, Wu Sung turns himself in and is sent to prison. Here, he's befriended by a prison guard who ensures that the legendary Wu Sung, whose reputation precedes him, is given preferential and good treatment and spared the worst of the prison. However, in return, Wu Sung must help the guard reclaim his hometown, the Delightful Forest, which Chiang Chang has captured. Based on the well-known source material and the scriptwriters faithfully adopting the storyline, The Delightful Forest is a delightful movie featuring all the Chang Che stuff you'd expect from his film, with elaborate action sequences directed by La Ka-leung and a blood-drenched climax that even puts his own other movies to shame. The Delightful Forest is a definite watch from the Shaw Brothers Studios' The Water Margin trilogy. All Men Are Brothers, 1975. Chang Che's finale of the trilogy The Outlaws of the Marsh, or the Water Margin movie, the movie picks up where the Water Margin ended. With its all-star cast involving all the surviving members from the first, the sequel's scale feels almost as grand as the Water Margin. The story still involves our heroes continuing their battle against the corrupt, powerful men of the Sung dynasty from the Liang Shan mountains. The movie deals with extraordinary brotherhood amongst our heroes as they all become immortal in Chinese folklore due to their heroics, struggle and sacrifices against one of the most corrupt governments of all time in China. This people's power and representation in the movie, and Chang Che's mastery in taking very well-known source material and making it come to life, even in the days when VFX wasn't a thing. The movie offers long, intense, elaborate, well-shot fight sequences, plenty of people losing their limbs and lives battling each other, brotherhood, romance, and drama. It's a must-watch for all Shaw Brother wuxia fans to complete one of the most celebrated trilogies coming from the studios. Brothers 5, 1970. The plot of the next film revolves around 5 brothers who have been separated since they were children, and how they find each other and avenge the man that murdered their father, who is also a kung fu master. Directed by Lo Wei and starring actors like Cheng Pei Pei, Lo Lie, Ku Feng, Wei Hua, and Chang Yi, the action choreography in this movie was done by Sammo Hung, who also appears in the film. For an earlier wuxia genre movie from the Shaw Brothers studio, Brother 5 is mainly remembered for its end-to-end action sequences. The plot is loose, and you'll barely understand it as you're taken from one creatively directed fight sequence to another, culminating in an extended 15-minute finale with abundant blood and gore. Lo Wei gives Chang Che a run for his money with the amount of blood on display in this movie. Also, the fight choreographer, Sammo Hung, was 18 when he showcased his talent in the field. Watch this movie for all its action sequences. The Blood Brothers, 1973. The Blood Brothers is a Chang Che movie released in 1973, featuring Chang's favorite stars of the time, David Chiang, Chen Kwangtai, and Ti Lung. David and Chen play Chang Wenxiang and Huang Chang, respectively, 2 brothers and Ti Lung's Ma Xinyi, who become friends and leaders of a gang after initial strife between them. Their friendship sours as Ma Xinyi starts an affair with Chang's wife, Mi Lan, played by Qing Li. Their friendship will be tested as Ma, a general in the government, will do anything to save his reputation. The movie is set in a flashback in a courtroom where Chang narrates the story to the audience. With a 122 minutes runtime, this movie differs from your typical Chang Che action thoroughfare. Action sequences and bloody battles are expected in a Chang Che movie, and with La Ka-leung being the fight choreographer, it delivers on that front. However, the plot is surprisingly rich for a wuxia film of that time. Ti Lung won several awards for his excellent portrayal of the ambitious and adulterous Ma Xinyi, while David Chiang and Chen Kwangtai are, as always, rock solid in their roles. Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan, 1972. Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan is a Shaw Brothers studio masterpiece directed by Choi Wen, starring Lily Ho as Ai Nu, a woman trafficked into prostitution in a Chinese brothel. Repeatedly abused by the who's who of the local town, Ai Nu harbors revenge in her heart as her spirit is never broken. Ainu starts taking her revenge as the men who abused her are killed off one by one, and the police get involved as they try to stop her murdering rampage. We also see Betty Pai Tai playing Chan Yi, the madam of the brothel who falls for Ainu herself, even though she would torture Ai for her stubborn nature. With an abused female lead at its center, Intimate Confessions of a Chinese Courtesan is a brilliant deep dive into the abuse and torture faced by women forced into prostitution in contemporary China, and a commentary about how society and the judicial system choose to ignore them as human beings as it's more convenient to ignore them. A terrific performance from Lily Ho and cinematography by Choi Yuen with picturesque settings and intricate lighting give this a feel of a tragedy movie, which it is. The film would make you root for Ainu as she picks off her abusers one by one, even though chased by the police. Have Sword, Will Travel, 1969. The final film being reviewed in our video today is a feature involving the Iron Triangle of director Chang Che and stars David Chiang and T. Lung. The results are always fantastic whenever these three would come together in a Shaw Brothers studio film. Have Sword Will Travel, released in 1969, is no exception to that rule. The plot opens with a large amount of gold being transported through China. The man in charge of this transfer, Lord Yin Kei Feng, is the best martial artist and has reliably transferred such high-risk cargo for a long time. But when bandit organization Flying Tiger Stockade hears a rumor that Lord Yin has lost his fighting prowess due to an illness, they'll attempt to steal this extraordinary treasure. Lord Yin hires swordsman Xiang Ding, played by David Chiang, and his fiancée Wai Yunpi Opi, played by Li Qing. Soon their path crosses with that of another swordsman, Lu Yi, portrayed by David Chiang, and Xiang will now have to uncover his true intention and find out whether he is friend or foe. Also, complicating matters is the fact that Xiang's fiancée is too friendly with this newcomer. The two men must work together to safeguard the treasure while fighting the Flying Tiger Stockade. An early Chiang film, full of action as well as drama, this movie will give wuxia fans who are well versed with Chiang's movies a peek into his early directorial days. Chiang does everything right in it, with the pace of its story, the drama between the lead actors, keeping the audience guessing about what will happen next, and some exceptional fight sequences. Watch for Ku Feng, who plays the main antagonist Chao Hong, for his outstanding performance and menace throughout the movie. Congratulations on making it 55 of the finest Shaw Brothers Studios movies we reviewed in our video today. Which one of them is your favorite? How many of them did you watch already? Which one are you planning to watch next? Do let us know in the comments below, and as always, thank you for watching this video. Please give us a like, subscribe, and share it if you love it.
目的就是想混进无敌庄去。住口！